In the 1990s, using the internet was like walking through a forest on an unknown alien world at night, wearing a blindfold. It was always an adventure, and you never knew what you'd stumble into. Nonetheless, we grew to love much of what was there, but many of the sites that won our hearts have long since disappeared into the mists of history, which is why today we're taking a look at the forgotten websites of the 90s. Before we get too far, make sure you're subscribed to Weird History. After you've done that, let us know down in the comments below what other bits of internet history you'd like to hear about. Okay, try to avoid getting conscripted into the console wars, because we're headed back to the 90s. If there's a single image that captures the 1990s internet, it might just be Geocities. Launched in 1994, its premise was simple but revolutionary. Anyone could make a website. Not a blog, not a profile, an actual factual website. A little digital home in one of Geocities' themed neighborhoods. There was Silicon Valley for tech enthusiasts, Hollywood for entertainment fans, and Area 51 for people who wear tinfoil hats. Each site had its own address, a literal street number in a virtual city. It was web designed as urban sprawl. Every user was a homeowner, and every page a personal billboard. People filled them with flashing GIFs, guest books, and long confessional diary entries in Comic Sans. By 1999, Geocities was the third most visited website in the world. Then Yahoo bought it for $3.6 billion, and poof, there went the neighborhood. Yahoo tried to commercialize it, stripping away its weirdo charm in favor of templates and ads. The result? By 2009, Geocities was gone. All of it deleted. Millions of personal websites erased overnight. A digital extinction event, and a real bummer. If Geocities was about building things, Napster was about breaking them, specifically the music industry's business model. Launched in 1999 by a college student named Sean Fenning, Napster became the first true peer-to-peer file sharing service. And for one brief moment, it turned the internet into the parking lot of a punk show, with kids trading tapes out of their car trunks. Suddenly, with a 56K modem and a few hours of patience, you could have every song you'd ever wanted free. Albums spread like digital wildfire. Teenagers across the world were building massive illegal music libraries. You could search for Smells Like Teen Spirit at 2 a.m. and download it from a stranger in Slovenia. Napster was the sound of rebellion through a dial-up tone. But by 2001, it was dead. Sued out of existence. Its ghost, however, lived on in BitTorrent, LimeWire, Kazaa, and every other file-sharing service that followed. And eventually in Spotify, which turned piracy into a business model. Before Facebook groups and Reddit threads, there was AOL Hometown. Launched in 1998, it was part of AOL's massive ecosystem, the dial-up empire that introduced most of America to the internet, and provided the title for the super charming Tom Hanks Meg Ryan romantic comedy, You've Got Mail. AOL Hometown gave every subscriber a personal website builder. No coding, no hassle, just pick a template and start typing. It was digital scrapbooking. People made memorials, wedding pages, fan tributes to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You get the idea. AOL Hometown hosted over 14 million personal websites at its peak. Then, in 2008, AOL quietly announced it was shutting down and gave users just 30 days notice to save their pages, which they didn't. Most were lost forever. One day you could visit your aunt's recipe blog or a stranger's heartfelt poem, and the next, it was all 404 errors. That's the early internet in a nutshell. A fragile dream people assumed would last forever. AOL Hometown may be gone, but it's still easy to make your own website, thanks to Hostinger. From website builders, web hosting, and professional email to built-in marketing tools, Hostinger puts everything your business needs in one place. And their AI-powered interface, which has never tried to kill John Connor, makes them easy to use. Best of all, you don't need to be Jeff Bezos to afford it. You have two ways of building a website with Hostinger. Hostinger's AI website builder lets you create a website by answering a few measly questions, then customizing it by dragging and dropping. And Hostinger Horizons creates your website from a prompt before letting you shape the website further simply by chatting with the AI. Then you just pick a domain name and go live with a single click. The AI Growth Plan gives you e-commerce features, email marketing tools, and 50 extra credits for premium AI tools, which include an AI logo maker, AI image generator, and attention heat map that looks like the monster vision from the Predator movies. The 12 and 24-month subscriptions are always great deals, but since people of all religions celebrate Black Friday, they're having a sale that lets you lock in 48 months for just $2.75 a month. It comes with a free domain, 2 months for free, and a 30-day money-back guarantee, so it's completely risk-free. Plus, with the coupon code WEIRDHISTORY, you save an additional 10%. When people talk about the madness of the dot-com bubble, the Globe.com is Exhibit A. Launched in 1995, it was an early social networking site that let users create profiles, chat rooms, and connect based on interests. Essentially, Facebook before Facebook. In 1998, it went public, and its stock price skyrocketed a mind-boggling 606% on the first day, setting a record at the time. Its founders, 2 college students, became multi-millionaires overnight, and, we assume, threw the college party to end all college parties. But the site couldn't sustain the hype. The infrastructure was messy, the user base was fickle, and when the bubble burst, the Globe.com imploded. By 2001, it was gone. One of the first digital empires to rise and fall before most of us even knew what a social network was. Before Google became a verb, there were dozens of search engines fighting for dominance. And one of the biggest was Excite. Founded in 1994, Excite was a full-service portal, a search engine, an email provider, and a news hub. It was Yahoo's biggest rival, until it made one of the worst business decisions in internet history. In 1999, 2 Stanford students, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, offered to sell their fledgling search engine, Google, to Excite for a mere $750,000. Chump change in terms of a corporate acquisition, but Excite passed. Why? Well, apparently, Page wanted Google's search technology to replace Excite's, and Excite wasn't interested. Long story short, within a few years, Google was worth billions, and Excite was, well, it was gone, a casualty of the dot-com collapse. Today, Excite's original website is a husk, but it will always be remembered as the company that could have owned Google. Before Tumblr, before LiveJournal, there was Xanga. Launched in 1999, Xanga was one of the first blogging communities where users could post diary-style entries, customize their pages with backgrounds and music, and leave comments on friends' blogs. It was the digital equivalent of passing notes in class, except the notes were existential rants written in bright red font over a picture of a broken heart, and the class was anyone in the world with a dial-up connection. Xanga peaked around the mid-2000s, especially among teens, but by 2013, it had lost almost all its users to MySpace and Facebook. The company tried to reboot as Xanga 2.0, but by then, the culture that made it thrive, while being messy, emotional, and deeply personal, had vanished. Today, Xanga exists as a half-frozen archive, a time capsule of teenage angst that nobody, anywhere, wants to open. Angelfire was another free web hosting platform like Geocities, but with an edge. It launched in 1996 and quickly became known for its bizarre, aggressively DIY aesthetic. Think lime green text on black backgrounds, scrolling marquees, and top 10 lists about aliens and vampires. It was a cornerstone of internet weirdness, a place where conspiracy theorists, aspiring poets, and fanfiction writers all mingled. Angelfire still exists, but most of its pages are long dead. Visiting it now is like walking into an abandoned mall where the mannequins still wear 90s clothes. In fact, it's the exact kind of eerie experience people used to write about on Angelfire. Tripod started in 1995 as a platform for college students. The idea was to give young people a space to express themselves, but it quickly became a free web host for amateur creators, a kind of pre-social media social media, if you will. You'd have your homepage, maybe some blog entries, some blinking buttons, and a counter tracking how many visitors you'd had. In other words, Tripod gave birth to the first generation of online personal brands. Impressively, it survived the dot-com crash, but slowly faded into irrelevance. For a long time, its servers were like an internet ghost town. Half-dead pages from 1999 still technically online, rotting quietly in digital limbo. Tripod still kind of, sort of exists, but its real legacy is that it showed the web could be about people, not just companies. Long before YouTube, the brothers Chaps were uploading their Flash cartoons to a humble website called Homestar Runner. Launched in 2000, it was a surreal world of absurd humor, headlined by the titular Homestar Runner. He had a unique cast, one being a sarcastic, boxing glove-wearing anti-hero named Strongbad, and his email segments, where he roasted viewer questions, became early viral hits years before that term even existed. Homestar Runner thrived because it existed outside the corporate web. No ads, no sponsors, just two guys making weird cartoons from their apartment. When Flash died, most of the internet's early animations disappeared, but Homestar Runner survived, ported to modern formats by its creators. It remains a rare case of an early web project that didn't fade away, preserved because the people behind it actually loved it and cared about it. Finally, today people hunt for dates on Tinder or Match.com, but in the 90s, there was Lavalife. Originally called Telepersonals, it started out as a phone-based dating service, only later rebranding and going online as Lavalife. The service was one of the first online dating services to embrace the idea of meeting strangers through computer screens. So if internet dating is a thing you hate, think Lavalife. That being said, it was wonderfully progressive for its time. Open about casual dating, same-sex relationships, and even polyamory. By the mid-2000s, though, it couldn't compete with the new wave of dating sites. It still has active users, but it mostly got lost in a sea of thousands of competitors. Lavalife's tagline was, "Where singles click." And in a sense, that line captured the entire spirit of the 90s internet. Hopeful, naive, and full of possibility. So, did you use any of these websites in the 90s? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget about Hostinger's Black Friday sale. It's 76% off the normal price while the sale lasts, plus an extra 10% off with the coupon code WEIRDHISTORY.